When I heard Alice had a car accident, I dropped out of the piano competition and rushed to the hospital. But turns out she wasn't hurt at all. She was just fooling me. Alice said, "He really did drop out of the competition. Now William's first place is secured. No one could toy with Jimmy like Alice does." Alice said, "I can't help it if he loves me so much." I turned and made a call. "Mom, I want to change the person for the engagement party next month." Everyone assumed Alice and I were dating because we grew up together like childhood sweethearts. But we were so platonic we hadn't even held hands. Alice said, "Jimmy, I only see you as a pure friend. If it wasn't for my mom setting up our engagement on her deathbed, I would never marry you." So she felt justified in drinking, flirting with handsome guys, and getting cozy with my stepbrother. When I was mad, Alice even said, "Isn't this how our circle works? Marry someone rich, but sleep with someone you love. Jimmy, even if we get married, we'll do our own things separately." Leaving the hospital, I turned off my phone and went on a vacation abroad for a week. I spent a fortune, and it really lifted my spirits. When I got home and turned my phone back on, it blew up with missed calls. Everyone was asking where I'd been, saying Alice was losing it trying to find me. I announced immediately at a family meeting, "I have nothing to do with Alice. Unless it's her obituary, I don't need to hear any news about her." In less than half an hour, Alice showed up at my house. She blocked the door and seemed a bit startled when she saw me all dressed up. "A whole week in the hospital and you didn't care," she said irritably. "And now where are you off to looking like that?" "Of course I'm going to find a woman," I replied impatiently. "Move out of the way." Alice chuckled, "You're just trying to provoke me. As if I don't know the kind of women you hang around with?" I shrugged. "If you won't believe the truth, why even ask?" She nudged my shoulder, trying to placate me. "Jimmy, let's not be mad. Tomorrow's my birthday and even Lisa is coming from abroad for it. You should come too and not make a scene." Lisa is the Smiths' illegitimate daughter, 2 years older and way better than Alice in everything. A surefire way to set Alice off is to tell her she's not even as good as illegitimate Lisa. Since Alice was trying to smooth things over with me, she didn't want to lose face in front of Lisa. With a coy smile, I said, "Oh, I'll be there all right. Lisa's about to be my fiancée. I have to support her." Alice exploded on the spot. "Jimmy, you really can say anything to get under my skin. Fine, let's see who gives in first." Alice was hell-bent on outdoing me this time. She went on luxury shopping sprees with William, showing off their love as if trying to tell the world he was her one true love. She probably thought seeing all this would make me furious and call her to cuss her out, like always. But she didn't know that William was already on my side. When I dropped out of the piano competition, so did William. He caught a beating from his mom for it, and I happened to walk in on it. I said coldly, "Mary, if you ever hit William again, I'll cut off your credit card." Mary's face went all shades of a spilled paint palette. Though unhappy, she didn't dare argue with me. That night, William sneaked into my room. Teary-eyed, "I never flirted with Alice. She paid me to act that way just to provoke you. She'd belittle and avoid me, trying to make others think I was chasing her. Not that she was reaching up to me." Once I found out the truth, I got curious about the workings of Alice's mind. If it weren't illegal, she'd already be a cold body on an operating table. I thought about it, then sent Alice a text from William's phone. "Alice, it really got to my brother. Send me $500K, and I'll play along at the birthday bash. He'll be sad and forgive you right away." Without a word, she transferred the money. William looked at those zeros with hearts in his eyes. He split $300K with me. I rolled my eyes. William, eager to please, started massaging my shoulders. I sent a few pictures of evening gowns to someone. "I'm going to Alice's birthday bash. Which dress do you think would suit me best?" His typing bubble kept flashing on the other end. Alice was video chatting with William. "William, see what your brother's up to," she said. William, seeing my signal, told her plainly, "He's busy chasing women." Alice smirked. "Jimmy's putting on a show to mess with me. He really does care." There was laughter from the other side of the screen. "Alice really is something." "Huh?" someone said. Everyone knows Jimmy's all cold, but he melts for Alice. The person sounded sleazy, and others just laughed. I watched from outside the camera view, glancing at Alice, who blushed instead of hitting that foul-mouthed jerk. Then suddenly someone got up. Grabbing a bottle from the table, they hurled it at the lewd speaker. I was shocked when I recognized the face. It was Lisa standing with Alice. For 3 days after, Lisa didn't respond to my messages. After asking around, I found out she was on lockdown. As an illegitimate child, getting into a public fight was bound to create a stir. Rumors were flying about Lisa being violent, but no one explained why. I remembered that sleazy guy. His name was Nick. Seems like their family is in the lumber business, always chasing Alice, trying to bag custom furniture orders from the booths. I thought about it for a sec, got all dressed up, and went to Alice's birthday bash. The room was buzzing, people drinking, playing cards, singing. But the second I walked in, all eyes were on me. Alice was sitting with William doing their duet thing. When she saw me, she was off a few beats. Her crew started whispering, "Damn, Jimmy looks good today." Jimmy's still hung up on Alice. Huh? Alice heard them, and a smirk played at her lips. She called Nick over and said to me with a smile, "Jimmy, not sure how my friend ticked you off, but his family's factory lost orders and had to shut down. He wants to apologize today. Can you cut him some slack?" Nick put on a sheepish grin, trying to apologize. I didn't even glance at Alice, just walked right past her. Alice was stunned, and you could hear a pin drop in the room. I went over to Lisa, giving her a gentle kick on the shin. Lisa looked up at me, looking a bit awkward. That's when I noticed the bruise by her mouth. Guess she took a hit from her dad over Nick's mess. I stared at her for a sec, then scoffed. "No wonder you haven't answered my calls. Taking blows and swallowing your pride? Lisa didn't think you could handle so much." Lisa stayed quiet, edging away. Alice walked over, huffy, "Jimmy, aren't you giving me a birthday gift?" I grinned. "How about a wreath, want one?" She went pale with anger. Alice's buddy gave her a push, trying to make her hug me. I dodged, lost my footing, and ended up tumbling onto Lisa. Lisa's hand landed on my waist. Her warm touch sent my heart racing. I felt her grip tighten, and her body tense up. Lisa steadied me, then gently pushed me away. Even in the thick of it, she remained calm and collected. If I hadn't seen her fiery kiss before, I would have thought she was all ice. Nobody knew about my secret, that I had something with Lisa. After high school, I applied to the local university. And would you believe, Alice changed her plans and went to study in the UK. During that time, I was the town's running joke. People who didn't like me laughed, saying even a good girl can't handle a bad boy's cling. They thought Alice ran off because she was scared of me. I called her out, and she hit me with this gem: marry someone rich, love someone else. I ranted to my bros about Alice's stupidity, and someone mentioned Lisa. Her family's deaf, illegitimate daughter. She's a real untouchable beauty. A buddy tried wooing her forever, and she never budged. We made a bet, saying whoever wins Lisa gets a limited edition watch. To spite Alice, I decided to go for Lisa. Lisa was 2 years ahead, studying computer science at a top university. She was the it girl of the department. Whenever I had time, I'd trail her. Found out she lived such a basic life it was crazy. Up at 6 a.m. sharp for a 1-hour run. The 3 p.m., if no class, always in the library. Post 8 p.m. dinner by the back lake fishing. After a few days, I thought about backing out. Dating her might bore me to death. On the day I decided to give up, I finally got with Lisa. Lisa was by the lake, fishing like clockwork. I was getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. While I was swatting them away, Lisa walked over and handed me an insect repellent. She looked at me, saying coolly, "Fishing in light clothes? Bold move." Eyeing my gear, I was speechless. Wasn't I just sticking to my act? With welts all over my back, I asked Lisa to apply some ointment for me. I swear to God, I didn't mean anything by it. I knew Lisa was straight-laced. She'd never take advantage, but she just stood there holding the bottle. About to be mosquito chow, she said, "Sorry, I only touch my boyfriend's skin." I blurted out, "Then I'll be your boyfriend." Lisa stared for a few beats, finally said, "Okay." So kinda cluelessly, I bagged Lisa. She added a new hobby besides fishing, reading, and walking, kissing me. Alice got mad and cuddled up to William, singing love songs. I ignored her, sat next to Lisa. Alice's gals hyped up the scene, egging her and William to sing. The room was drowning in their over-the-top antics. But Lisa sat there, cool and composed. In a hidden corner, unseen, I leaned into her touch. Her hand on my bare back. Her warmth was electric. Lisa's eyes stayed on the flowers, hesitant to move. I got up. I snatched a rose as I headed out. As the door shut, I saw Alice set down her mic, looking ticked. "Not singing, Alice?" her girls asked. She spat, "He won't even look at me. What's the point?" I parked myself on the terrace railing, counting down from a minute to 48 seconds. Someone pushed the door and came over. It usually took at least a minute to walk from the room to the terrace. But Lisa made it in 48 seconds, standing right in front of me, still as cool as a cucumber, not even breathless from the hurry. I pressed my palm against her chest. Her heartbeat was wild. Lisa gripped my wrist, eyes lowered. I teased her neck with the rose. The petals fell, disappearing into her collar, making me curious. With a grin, I asked, "Do your words still stand?" 3 years ago, I wanted to break up with Lisa. She held my hand tight, tears in her eyes. "Jimmy, even if you use me for a bet or just to kill your loneliness, it doesn't matter. As long as you don't leave me, I'm fine." I was really annoyed at that time and blurted out, "I'm getting engaged to Alice. She's my legitimate fiancée. What do you think you are? A mistress?" After a moment, Lisa said with difficulty, "I'm willing to be your mistress." But even though she humiliated herself like that, I still didn't turn back. Lisa stood alone in the pouring rain, like an abandoned dog. I thought she hated me to death and would never come back. Didn't expect I'd see her again. 3 years later, Lisa had become much tougher. When she heard my words, she looked up at me. "Jimmy," she said coolly, "you think I'm as foolish as I was 3 years ago? You're having a spat with Alice and want to use me to vent. I'm not your dog to command." Sounds firm, right? Then why are you still standing here without moving an inch? With a cold face, she said, "Don't think I have any lingering feelings for you. When you're mad, nobody can handle it." I wrapped my arm around her neck, getting close to her lips. "You refuse me, and I'm mad now. Lisa, kiss me and I'll calm down." I don't remember if I leaned in first or if she did. Lisa's kiss was as passionate as a summer storm, hot, saturated, everywhere. She pushed me into a private booth where no one could see. Her lips moved on my neck, leaving no trace. I knew she was considering my reputation. She yanked open a few buttons on my shirt. I went wild. Lisa couldn't hold back and bit me. Then we heard Alice knocking. "Jimmy, are you in there?" The doors unlocked. "I'm coming in." The doorknob slowly turned with a scratchy noise. Lisa was kneeling on one knee. I nudged her, mouthing, "Continue." Just as the door opened, I shouted, "Alice, don't come in." I didn't even notice my own voice was breathless. The person outside suddenly stopped moving. My mind was a mess, gripping Lisa's arm. I don't know how long it stayed quiet outside. Alice's dry voice came again, suppressing her emotions. "Jimmy, what are you doing in there?" I didn't have time for her. Lisa opened a water bottle, rinsed her mouth, and gave me a drink. Her fingers pressed on my lips. I playfully bit her. Alice's voice sounded like she was about to cry, slapping the door. "I won't come in, don't worry." Suddenly, Lisa inexplicably smiled and kissed my lips. Once I caught my breath, I lazily said, "We're having an affair. Want to come take a look?" Alice was silent for a long time before saying, "Jimmy, I was such an fool before, always making you mad. I won't do it anymore. I'll treat you right. The cake's ready. It's your favorite mango filling. I'll wait for you." I was about to head back to the booth when Lisa asked, "Do your words still count?" I turned to look at her. She looked colder and more stunning than before. Her gaze was like being trapped by a Venus flytrap. I blinked innocently. "Which words?" I asked, playing dumb. pushing her into a corner. A blush crept up Lisa's ears. Pressing her palms, she used all her dignity to say, "Let me be your mistress." I scratched her chin, smiling. "Nope, doesn't count." Lisa turned her head, lightly biting my hand without force. "Jimmy, you're messing with me again." When I returned to the booth, I heard a loud bang as soon as I entered. Next second, flower petals fell everywhere. Alice kneeled on one knee, holding 2 rings. Though we were getting engaged, she hadn't said everything. "Jimmy, all these years, my heart has only had room for you. I did all those stupid things to get your attention, show I mattered to you. Not anymore. I'll love and stand by you alone. Jimmy, let's get married." Alice's friends clapped and whistled excitedly, urging me to agree. I looked at Alice, suddenly feeling her face was blurry. "Alice, look, let's buy this." In the dead of night, we'd sit in the cemetery, chatting with my mom. Just because dreams of her woke me up, we'd gaze at the stars, truly discussing which was my mom. All these years, I ignored Alice's quirks. I had thought I loved Alice. But then I realized, I just loved what little my mom left behind in this world. I stared at Alice, hesitating to respond. Her face slowly showed a hint of unease. I lowered my head, taking the ring, examining it. "Ugly," I muttered. Alice stood, thrilled. "Jimmy, I knew you'd say yes." She gave Lisa a challenging look. "I'm the one you love most. Unlike some deaf girl, like a shameless whore. Show off all you want, you'll have nothing." Lisa, her face cold, stood by me, silent as a shadow. Despite the humiliation, she kept quiet for my sake. I tossed the ring back to Alice, pulling Lisa's arm, curiously asking, "Alice, didn't I tell you already? Lisa's my fiancée. So, proposing means you want to become the mistress?" The room fell silent. Lisa glanced at me, seemingly frozen. Her eyes turned red, blinked slowly, holding back tears. I felt her trembling hand, shocked by her big reaction. Clutching the ring, Alice spoke through gritted teeth. "Jimmy, even if you're mad, using this deaf girl as an excuse isn't right." Her friend Nick came over, deliberately pushing Lisa hard. Lisa's left hearing aid hit the ground. "Jimmy, seriously? You're comparing a deaf person to Alice? She's an unwanted, illegitimate kid. She's not even fit to lace Alice's shoes. Lisa's ears don't hear well, and her face is a bit pale." I couldn't keep quiet and warned sharply, "I respect you, and that's why you're a hotshot like Alice. If I, Jimmy, don't respect you, you wouldn't even step inside my house." Word of my breakup with Alice spread all over town by the next day. The Booths threw a dinner party to apologize to me. Sitting at the head of the table, I mindlessly played with my phone. The person next to me smelled faintly of smoke, and I glanced at them with a frown. Alice's father quickly ushered them out. Pouring me a glass of juice, he said kindly, "Jimmy, after so many years with Alice, how can it end just like that? I've already taught her a lesson for her mistakes. She'll make it up to you by accompanying you to Paris for a few months. Can we just put this behind us?" Alice looked at me, her face drawn, like she hadn't slept in days. Her face was swollen. It seemed she had gotten a rough beating. Her father always spoiled her. This must have been her first real punishment. I looked at Alice with a smirk. "Does it hurt?" Alice immediately put on a pitiful face, nodding. "Jimmy, it hurts a lot." With my chin in my hand, I said gently, "Get used to it. There are more beatings to come." Alice's face froze. Her father raised his glass in a respectful gesture to toast me. Casually clinking glasses, I said, "Uncle, you've worked with my family for years, always stable. I won't stop business just because I broke off my engagement with Alice." I said with good humor, "And besides, Lisa is also your daughter. At the end of the day, we're still family." As soon as I said this, the table went quiet. They all looked at Lisa. No one took her seriously at this event. They thought I was using her to get back at Alice. So, Lisa sat at the end like she was just a side character. Alice's father paused for a moment, then smiled. "Jimmy's right. It was narrow-minded of me. Don't worry, even if you switch, there'll be no gossip." It's all Alice's fault. He personally walked over to Lisa and invited her over. Alice, shocked and embarrassed, said, "Dad, you want me to make room for this deaf girl?" I said annoyed, "Uncle, Lisa will be my wife. Not respecting her means not respecting me. We can skip the meal if that's the case." Without hesitation, Alice's father slapped her. He shouted, "I've spoiled you beyond repair. Lisa is your sister. How can you talk to her like that?" Others chimed in with advice. "Right, Alice, being impulsive was okay as a kid. But now you should know better. Lisa studied abroad all these years, went through a lot. She should come back to the booths and help her dad." For the first time in 25 years, Lisa got family recognition. Before, she was just illegitimate and deaf. Faced with her relatives' sudden concern, Lisa remained indifferent. I caught a hint of sarcasm in her eyes. I'd had enough of the charade today. I took Lisa's hand and left. I asked her, "Feel better with all this fuss?" Lisa looked blank. "You showed up here just to cheer me up?" I smirked. "What else would you think?" Lisa seemed uneasy. "I thought you might have had second thoughts." I teased. "Haven't changed my mind yet, but who knows about the future?" Lisa kissed me, whispering, "I'll never give you a chance to." Lisa's epilogue. I've looked at those 2 marriage certificates 100 times. It all still feels like a dream. The man I longed for is really my husband. Everyone assumes I met Jimmy at his house. That's not true. When I was 17, I had a high fever that wouldn't go down. My mom didn't take me to the doctor. Instead, she dragged my sick self to ask for money. Unfortunately, the booths gave us nothing and threw us out. "It's all your fault." My mom slapped me hard, leaving me on the busy road. In the pouring rain at night, I sat under the bus stop, dazed by the fever. I looked at him, foggily thinking, I must be delirious to see things. He sat at the other end of the bench, absently flicking water off his umbrella. Jimmy suddenly said, "My mom doesn't want a divorce because she's worried about me. If we leave, I'll lose my inheritance." Over the years, she's cried herself to sleep watching my dad move on with woman after woman. She tortures herself and me. I was startled, wanting to comfort him, but he kept going. "I don't want anyone sacrificing for me, and I don't want to carry someone else's life. One day, I'll control the whole company and give my mom her freedom." This is why Jimmy was determined to break up. I got an offer from a top international university, but didn't want to leave him, thinking of declining the chance to study abroad. Once Jimmy found out, he wanted to end things. He didn't want anyone to live their life for him or to be a burden. He's never been a flower needing protection. He's a bird flying solo in the sky. Before leaving, Jimmy tossed his wallet to me. "Hey, get yourself to a hospital or you look like you might die." My left ear lost hearing that night. After the fever broke, it hardly heard a thing. After high school exams, I got into a university with the city's top score. This became my pass into the booths. Even when humiliated, I've never thought of leaving. Only here could I see Jimmy. Everyone in the booths knew that Jimmy and Alice were childhood sweethearts. Really close. And for a while I kept wondering, if someone like Alice could be with Jimmy, why couldn't I? I was like a shadow, secretly watching everything about Jimmy. Jimmy went abroad with his mom for recuperation, and it was half a year after his mom passed away before I saw him. It was a sunset evening. He was sitting in the garden among the flowers, calmly watching others gossip about him. I heard Jimmy's dad had an issue and Jimmy was the only child, so his status was rock solid. Some whispered that Jimmy poisoned his dad, saying he was so young but already had a heart of stone. I stood behind the curtain on the second floor and saw Jimmy leave with a mocking look. Those 2 gossipers turned white as a sheet, like quails that lost their tongues. Jimmy sneered and walked away. I never saw those 2 again after that. Later, when I talked to Jimmy about it, he chuckled, saying they weren't wrong, My dad's condition, I played a part in it. Jimmy knew how to use his looks well. Anyone who saw him cry couldn't help but feel sorry for him, especially his own father. After his mom's death, Jimmy quickly realized his dad would remarry. That meant he could have siblings competing with him for the inheritance. On the night of his mom's funeral vigil, Jimmy sat in the living room, quietly crying. Dad, I dreamt you took Mom and me to the amusement park. I sat on your shoulders and felt like the happiest kid in the world. But now I've lost Mom, and I might lose you too, right? Someday some stepmom would move in, and I'd be the unluckiest kid. He cried like someone utterly helpless. The next morning, his dad went to the hospital for a vasectomy. But there were complications, and his dad ended up with the condition. Jimmy gave up the chance to study abroad and stayed in town. He started his own brand at 18, and within 3 years it was ready to go public. Jimmy and his team made a strong entry into the family business. The G Group started with daily necessities, then moved into cosmetics and personal care. The beauty market was always lackluster, but with Jimmy's leadership, the stock prices soared, and the company had a new beginning. Everyone thought he was just a lovesick dope chasing after Alice. But during the years he was closest to her, he quietly took control of some of the booth's production lines. The booths tried a risky game but ended up losing. After marrying Jimmy, I gave up my overseas position. During those years abroad, I had a stake in a smart robotics company. Now it's doing well, giving me a few $1,000,000 a year in dividends. I handed over the card to Jimmy and went to teach at my alma mater. This way, I have time to be with him and continue my research. When Jimmy found out, he gave me a sharp bite under my chin. Lisa, he said, I told you you don't need to sacrifice for me. I whispered, I can lose everything, just not you. Jimmy's already so busy. If I get caught up in my career too, we'd drift apart sooner or later. He didn't know how long it took me to get to him. There's no way I'd give up on him for a career. Jimmy squinted at me. Don't pretend to be innocent. William already told me. You pushed him to set us up. Hearing that, my face turned crimson. I didn't dare to reply. It was true. I had solved a big technical problem for his buddy. In return, he persuaded Jimmy to pursue me. During that time, I was really torn. I feared Jimmy would come after me just to spite Alice. But at the same time, I dreaded he wouldn't be interested at all. When he finally showed up in the library, I couldn't focus on a single word. Jimmy truly had no patience, sighing while reading, yawning while jogging, nearly dozing off while fishing. Just as he was about to give up, I made my move. And for the rest of my life, I won't ever let go.